Today, we're diving into a stark warning from one of the UK's top military leaders. General Sir Nick Carter, former Chief of the Defence Staff, has revealed that our armed forces are, in his words, remarkably hollow. After decades of neglect and the recent support we've given to Ukraine, the UK is now facing some serious gaps in its defence capabilities. But it's not just about tanks and artillery. Warfare has evolved, and we're dangerously behind in the digital age.
Is it realistic that we should commit to spending the kind of money that Donald Trump is asking? And what's the state of our armed forces right now?
The answer is that they're remarkably hollow. And indeed, the British Army has given up a huge number of its tanks and artillery pieces to Ukraine and doesn't any longer have enough for what is required. Now, this, to be fair to everybody, has been a process of neglect over a 30-year period. And of course, what has happened in that time is that warfare has also evolved. And we have these holes that need filling, but it's also the case that we need to digitise and take account of the digital era that we're now in. But I think we also need to be clear about how vulnerable our country is. 95% of the UK's data comes through undersea cables. 45% of our gas comes from Norway in undersea pipelines. We get 40% of our food via sea. Much of our critical national infrastructure is not properly protected by cyber defences. We are in a position, I think, where we are massively vulnerable at the moment. And whether we like it or not, that means we're going to have to start protecting ourselves. And the sort of onslaught that Ukraine has suffered from the air via drones and missiles over the course of the last 3 years is unsustainable as far as the UK is concerned. We might be able to park a destroyer in the Thames to protect parts of London, but nothing more than that.
So when Nick talks and Keir Starmer's talked about a peacekeeping force or a reassurance force of some kind, should there be some kind of peace deal and the force would be there in order to act as a buffer between Ukraine and Russia, is it realistic that we have the troops to send?
It depends on the nature of the task. I mean, if it is an observer mission and we're going to be driving around in white vehicles, that's fine. But if, as I suspect it will need to be, a force that can deter Putin's aggression, then fundamentally we are not equipped or manned to be able to do that at the moment.
Let that sink in. Our data, our energy, our food, all of it relies on systems that are exposed and underprotected. And with the rise of drone and missile warfare, as we've seen in Ukraine, the UK is not prepared to handle a similar onslaught. As General Carter put it, we might be able to protect parts of London with a destroyer in the Thames, but that's about it. So, what does this mean for the future of UK defence? And can we even afford to fix this? The US has been pushing NATO members to increase defence spending, but with the UK's armed forces already stretched thin, is it realistic to commit to those kinds of investments? So, where does this leave us? The UK is at a crossroads. We're facing evolving threats in a rapidly changing world, but our defences haven't kept pace. The question is, are we willing to invest what it takes to secure our future? Let us know what you think in the comments below.